let's talk about the controversy surrounding Metal Gear Solid Delta, also known as Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. It's a remake or remaster, however you want to say it. But there's been a bit of a controversy, and everybody's covering it. Apparently, every YouTuber, including myself, but every YouTuber and game company wants to cover this controversy, but also I think it's a little bit in bad faith, just a little, because as a fan, as a super fan, obviously, see the shirt. See, I got the game day one. Just like a lot of people want to talk about the performance. And we're going to get into a few videos where some famous YouTubers really rage bait. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say it from the very beginning. I do agree with some of the performance anger due to the fact that when you pay $70 or, in Canada, 90 something dollars, they definitely should have a game running at 60 frames per second, at 120 frames per second. They should give you the options to run it at 1440 and it be at 120 frames per second. I totally get that. That's totally valid. We can't let these companies make us pick up the slack and wait for updates that may or may not ever come. And when we do buy these games brand new and they don't perform like the hardware we have purchased should perform, it allows other companies to get away with the same thing. So, yes, I do agree the performance issues are something we should be concerned about. We should raise our voices. We should tell the game companies this is not okay. On the other hand, I think some of these creators did a little bit of rage baiting, mostly because they created videos a week before the game released. Some of them just talked about the Digital Foundry review, which was solid. But on that note, they are not taking into the account or talking about the other factors of the game. They are, in a sense, basically telling people, don't buy this game. The thumbnails, the leaving out information, like how much fun it is, how great it really is to kind of relive this story again. Even though people will sit there and tell you, this was the best game ever. I had so much fun back in the day. And when it was on PlayStation 2, it was just the absolute darling. It was the best thing in Metal Gear Solid ever put out. They will go on and on and on about how the old stuff was just the best, even though it performed at 20 frames per second and stuff like that. A lot of the time, it did work. It did work well. You could compare it to some other games on the PlayStation 2 and say, well, they probably could have did better. But my point still stands is that people are so quick to just look at numbers and focus on the numbers to the point where they will take we'll look at it. They'll take some gameplay. Some of these YouTubers, two of the YouTubers that we're going to look at, they're famous. I don't want them coming after me, whatever. But they didn't even play the game. They weren't showing any video of them playing the game, and they didn't talk about their experience. They just wanted to talk about, these are what the numbers showed. 30 frames. It dropped down to 20 here. It did this there, did this. And they didn't want to talk about, was it fun? What did you even notice? I bought the game day one, right? There was people that had issues. I got it on the regular PlayStation 5 disc version, and I have played it for 10 hours, zero issues. I did not spoil myself, so I didn't watch any of these videos. I was not actually aware of all these these super vocal people talking about how terrible the launch was, how horrible the performance is. And a lot of that is with PC, because PC traditionally, and this goes back to the beginning of game launches for PC, they're traditionally performed variable, and we will look at somebody who has a 5090 that plays and he's rage baiting. He has a 5090. The game is running flawlessly, to be honest. Although it does say 60 frames per second, that's just what this thing is capping at. There's dips and stuff. Take it for how you want. I still don't think. I think that everybody that's covering this should give it a fair shot. In the fact that, does it look like it's stuttering? Does it look like it is freezing or doing weird things? The only thing that I really could tell people were super complaining about is crashing, which day one they did a hot fix. So as of right now, it's a little past midnight after the second day, so we're going into the third day. But I mean, essentially you could say it came out 2 days ago. I played it day one. I played it on the PlayStation 5. I never had a single crash. What can happen sometimes is that a lot of the people that are putting this out in the media can be a small number or group of people that just have a platform like YouTube or social media, or they are working for some company where they can put out articles and this and that. And then the media obviously loves to grab anything negative, because negative attention sells. That's why every thumbnail is rage bait. People want to say, before you buy, or don't buy this game, or what a mess, or name 100 different thumbnails that people are making to get you to click on it, to see how terrible the brand new game is that came out for Metal Gear Solid. I want them to continue making games for Metal Gear Solid. That's why I went out, supported them. Obviously, I'm a super fan. And I'm not necessarily taking up for Metal Gear Solid. Like I said in the beginning, we do need to hold these companies accountable for not giving us the option to run at 120 frames per second at a lower resolution like 1440, or even if we wanted to choose 1080 or whatever. We should have that option. I totally agree. And our dollar means a lot. We worked hard for this, and we paid for a brand new game. And a lot of the time, like with Cyberpunk and, you name it, these games are coming out, half-baked, kind of half-baked. There's a lot of issues with the Unreal Engine 5, and, we're working through that. By the time the Unreal Engine 6 comes out and 7 comes out, people will still be using 5, and then it'll people will be talking bad about 6 or 7, and then they'll be like, I wish we could go back to 5. It's always like that. So we'll get into what these videos are saying, what their points are, but I just wanted to say that I think people are focusing too much on what does that number say versus what their eyeballs can see. Now, some people can probably totally notice, I'll tell you from my experience is that I don't have a way to look at frames per second on my PlayStation 5. I don't have a capture card and run it through OBS and all that stuff like these people are. I just played the game completely, didn't look at social media. I didn't listen to anybody say, oh, the game's terrible. Don't play it. It's running at 30 frames per second. It's running at this, running at that. I just put the disc in, downloaded it, played the game, and I loved it. Absolute zero issues, zero crashes. You know, I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. So,
but raise my eyebrow a bit.
Let's look at some
of... Metal Gear Solid Delta comes out very soon. I believe it's next week.
Let's look at some of these creators' videos, and I started that just a hair early, but let's look at some of these creators. This guy's name is RGT85, 526,000 subscribers. You know, great dude. He makes a lot of content. Go follow him.
Digital Foundry got their hands on the game. I will have a link.
He wants to talk about the Digital Foundry, you know, and their, you know, their performance, their take on it. He came out with this video 7 days ago. You know, the game wasn't out. He doesn't have the game, or he probably does now, but he didn't have the game. This is kind of one of those things where it's like, you know, has Unreal Engine 5 problems. Yeah, it does, but I just think that some of the time we need to expand on the stories fully. I would have probably rather listen to some of these famous people cover the game after it came out, or at least, you know, while, you know, if they were able to get the copy, you know, 7 days before and they were playing it. I want to hear about, was it fun? You know, do you recommend it to other people?
Video in the description box down below. I recommend checking it out. They showcase some of the stuff with the game, such as the tech within it, because, I mean, that's what they do. So you can see, like, the different graphics here. There is a PlayStation 5 performance mode, there's a PlayStation 5 quality mode, and there's a PS5 Pro mode within this.
I ran mine in quality mode, and that may be why it looks so good and everything, but I didn't notice the 30 frames per second, to be honest.
So there are 3 different modes if you're playing the game on PlayStation 5. Obviously, performance is going to favor frame rate. Quality mode is going to favor graphical density and stuff like that. And PlayStation 5 Pro mode is going to be a mixture of both of those. So, you know, like, it's a game that looks very good. One of the main things that they talk about in this video when it comes to the differences between performance and quality mode is kind of the visual density and stuff like that, as far as, you know, textures, certain elements.
And from what I understand, the PS5 Pro mode, it was created wrong. They had it scaled down, and then they scaled it back up to make it 4K. I don't know what they did, the devs, but it has its issues. Apparently, the PS5 Pro runs not as good as the regular PS5, which is good for PS5 owners that are just, you know, that don't have the Pro. But for people that did pay for the Pro, it's a little discouraging.
Popping up and stuff like that. Performance mode is a 60 frames per second mode. Quality mode is a 30 frames per second mode. And you can see here the differences. You know, this isn't really a thing that I necessarily, like, care about too much. I think the game looks great no matter what you're doing. Like, I understand, you know, there is that.
I don't know why. So if you looked at the video on the right, it looked like it was jittering, you know, and he's not playing. This is not his gameplay. I don't know what's going on with it. I never saw that happen. And I played it. I captured a bunch, but when I transferred it from the PS5 to the computer, it's in like a WebM file or something like that, and I couldn't get it to play before this video. But I am going to convert it all and upload the cutscenes and some gameplay to my YouTube channel this week, and you can see that I never saw
YouTube
anything
compression playing a role here.
Be jittery,
but this
like
is all
this.
fine to me. I'm fine with all of this. I'm fine with the way that these all look. Like, okay. It looks pretty damn similar. You know, I guess PS5 Pro might be a little bit clearer and stuff like that. But like, cool. You know, I'm satisfied with all of these modes. That's not the problem. The graphics.
Some of this stuff is skewed though too, because we don't know. You know, I got this video in 1080p HD, the premium, and so on the screen for you guys, you can't see 4K. You can't see anything what they're talking about. So it's going through so many different captures by the time it gets here to YouTube. It right here on this screen on a YouTube video, it looks like garbage. You're not going to be able to, even if I capture mine on 4K and I show it to you, you know, this monitor I'm actually on my computer is just a 1080p monitor. Even if I show the video in 4K, I don't know how all that works, but I know that on my TV, my HDR 4K TV, from the PlayStation straight to that, it looks crisp and clear. From this video right here, I would be like, man, this game looks not that good, and I would probably, you know, it would just, you know, it can discourage people from buying it. But, you know, if you ask me, this is misleading a little bit on how it looks just because of all the channels it had to go through, even from Digital Foundry to this guy who's covering it on his YouTube channel.
Graphics are not the problem. The graphics are never the problem with most modern games.
He says it's not the problem.
It's performance.
I agree.
And I don't understand how in the year of our Lord 2025, we are still struggling with performance on big AAA games. I do
agree.
It's not hardware based. Let's stop acting like it is hardware based.
I do agree.
It's a problem with either the developer or the engine. And when it's a certain engine that constantly gets used and constantly seems to have problems, I can't help but feel like that's playing a role. Let's get to the frame rate test. Like I said, performance mode is 60 frames, or is it? Here it is fluctuating all over the place.
I can't
We're
tell
down to
if
50,
this is
51,
a
52,
PS5.
51. And
I guess this is just the PS5 normal.
Here. 48, 46, 47, 49, 47. Oh, there's an explosion. Oh, you better batten down the hatches, folks, because we're going down to 30.
I think it's a little bit disingenuous that, okay, yeah, it says 40-something, 50, 60, but if you watch,
30.
You know,
in performance mode.
Is it stuttering?
Explosion?
Is it? Could you tell
hatches,
if
folks,
this
'cause we're going
down
to
here
30
wasn't there?
in performance mode?
Would you be able to even
While you are
tell? I think
playing-
like the whole comparison is the thief of joy kind of thing. I think that's what's going on. So yeah, like I totally agree. This is not okay. That should not be happening. It should be either locked at 60 or locked at 120, or maybe variable between 60 and 120, however they want to do that. I do agree that this is not good. We shouldn't pay for this. But, you know, on the flip side, if I was to recommend somebody, does this mean don't buy it? No, that means, you know, buy it. You're not going to have a bad time if you if you don't focus on this type of stuff. Don't let that get in your head. That's all I'm saying.
The game. Well, okay. Well, maybe quality mode is a lot. Here, underwater, you're 35 frames per second. And there's a boss battle where you have to go underwater, by the way. So it's not like this is a small portion of the game. It's not like this is just, you know, isolated things. Quality mode. Okay, so we're at 30 frames per second here. Is it at least consistent? Is it stable? Does it ever fluctuate? Well, so far so good.
Just look at his. Just look at the character move.
Oh wait. Now we're down to 27, 28, 27, 30.
Look at him move.
Up to 31.
Look at
Why did
the
it
grass.
go up to 31?
Look at the explosions.
Again. And like, I know what you're saying to yourself.
I wouldn't be able to tell. Like, yes, it sucks to see a number at 30. I don't know. It sucks, but I still think it still looks fine. You know, it's running
not big on
without
frame rate
stuttering.
Stuff, let me
explain
why this bothers
stuff like
me
that
in just a moment, because we
so
have
let's
to
see if he can show
down
us
to
some.
26 underwater. It's definitely more stable in that. Here's PS5 Pro mode. we're still not at 60 frames per second. And in some instances, the drops are worse in PS5 Pro mode than they are in the performance mode of the game. It's all over the damn place. And
So,
that's my problem
I mean, just
with
look at it.
things like frame rate and stuff.
You
If a game is locked
you can
at 30
decide for yourself if that is okay, if it's not okay. I was going to cover another guy's coverage of it, but he just sits there and bashes it the whole time. Like, he never even played it. He doesn't even like really go over too much, but he bashes it all. Let's actually look at some. I have the video playing in 4K, which I don't know if it'll show as it's in 4K, but let's see here. This top right one is so they're all, I guess, in quality. So we have the Series S, Series X, PS5, and PS5 Pro. So this is quality mode. This is the 4K, 4K mode. Now, it does look like they're all locked, pretty much. That Xbox Series X, it's going up to 60, but no lower than 30. And the PS5 Pro in quality mode is at 60. This is what I'm experiencing. Look, no dips, none of that. On the bottom right, it's fully staying clean at the 60. The other ones are staying, clear on the either 30. See, look how smooth this is. So this is the difference between the game actually being released and the week before and the Digital Foundry covering it. This is what I'm experiencing, on day one. It's if you sat there and looked at this frame, you'd say, "Oh man, 60. That's terrible." It's smooth, It's playable. We have I think spoiled ourselves a little bit on wanting 120, 240 and higher. I have the 9070 XT, and there are some games where it's like it says like 800 frames per second, 1,000 frames. I'm like, this is too much. Sometimes I have to turn it down, but this video right here shows more of what everybody else is experiencing. We're experiencing great, look, a great experience. These are all 4K, 60 frames, quality, 30, 60. It is what it is. I know that I said we would look at two of the YouTubers, and we only looked at the first guy. But I wanted to go ahead and just skip the second one because like I said before, he just pretty much bashes the game the whole time. He hadn't even played it at all. The entire video, he did the review of it, or talked about the controversy, days and days and days before the game had even released. He just was totally rage baiting and was going on and on and on about how terrible the game is, this and that. And even this guy right here, he says, RTX 5090, MetalGearSolid Delta, Snake Eater, what a mess. He has a 5090. He has the Ryzen 7 9800 X3D. Let's see here. Let's just
out for a moment, all right.
play a little bit of this.
Spent a lot of time
60
frames
frames
for the first time, when I first launched it.
I have it
so
set to 4K, but obviously we don't know.
Or preload the shader cache or whatever. I hope it did so, because otherwise this will happen a lot. What the heck, dude? This is not playable now. What? Are you serious?
Okay, now
I
that
get that I'm playing the game early.
that
you
is
know,
what I'm
like,
talking
it will only
about
launch in
with
a couple of
the
days,
PC
but,
players.
I paid 90 euros for this.
That
I'm
does
just gonna
suck.
keep on rolling
That
with these
where
1%
that
lows,
specifically
you know,
right
the
there
game
was
gets
a
0
a
FPS
bug
when-
that they claimed to fix on a hotfix day one. As far as the frames per second goes, to me it's fine. That
percent lows
that
and,
stutter or
that's
that
it.
pause when he did the front
Wow,
roll.
I am
That was the
really
first time
surprised,
I
guys.
had
am
seen
really
anybody
surprised. We go down
demonstrate
there.
the issues.
Okay, yeah. This is the
I just
way,
seen a
right?
lot of
Oh, I
people
could also have crouched
want to
over here,
get in
probably,
on
but,
the
let's keep on
the
going.
controversy,
Okay,
you
we're
know,
already
want to
seeing
get
the
that
FPS
those
dropping
clicks
a little
in
bit
on
from
Rage
60
Bait.
frames as well. There's a call. I mean, you spend a lot of time in cutscenes in this game, all right? It's also a remake, so that's probably why they needed to lock it to
You know,
60
I don't
frames
see
per second.
too many
Why am I hitting
reasons
here?
to say, you
okay, there
know,
we go. I got it.
that people shouldn't get the game.
Okay, that guy is sleeping now. No, okay.
He's having, let's see, does he
Oh
say,
my
okay, he
God.
should just tries it out on
Alright.
different settings. 8K.
Doesn't work. Even if I set it higher after restarting it, just changes back to 60 FPS. Yeah, quite a bit of a shame. Yeah, sure, it wouldn't go over.
Okay,
like
yeah, I
70
mean,
FPS or 80
I
FPS
see where these guys
anyways,
are coming
with
from.
unlocked
And like I said,
FPS
I'm not
maybe
here
okay.
to completely defend this right here. I truly agree. What we pay for, we should be able to get. If I was on PC, I should be able to get hundreds of frames per second. I have, you know, although this monitor is 1080p, it's also 240 hertz, so it should run at least 240 frames per second. And you know, I don't know how to defend this, and it's going to be much harder to defend anything from the PC side, especially since I just have it on PlayStation 5. But for this guy, you know, maybe he can look at, maybe he can show some of this content and on his video say, I don't recommend it. Now this 20 frames per second, 21, yeah, this is what I'm talking about, is something you can't really, yeah, that's kind of unplayable. I feel bad for this guy. 13 frames, 26. I don't know what he turned on, you know. 8K. Okay, yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of settings. I don't know how you can turn on 8K. I don't know what the settings look like in this game. Like, here we go. Let's see.
Which I'm not able to set it here.
So
Restart the game and select the 8K res here inside of Windows. By the way, I instantly made this post here.
okay, so you know, look at that. First of all, he chose the resolution outside of the game.
8K resolution, which I'm not able to set it here, so I'll need to restart the game and select the
So now,
8K res here.
I don't
inside of
necessarily feel bad
Windows.
for him.
By the way, I instantly made this post
anymore
here.
on
Let's
this
see,
8K
for anything.
stuff,
This is just 8K
because,
native,
look,
running on the power.
they didn't make
of
the game for 8K,
5090,
so
which,
I don't know why
well,
he's.
for this game, since
I mean,
it's
it's a good experiment,
it's
but
not enough for 8K native.
it's no reason to return the game because you want to set it way past its max. If we do, you know, he did the 4K max DLSSQ.
Well,
It's
can actually
running
take a look at the graphics
at
here.
what they
At
claimed it
setting
would,
period,
60 frames per
like
second.
with, 12600
He's running around. I don't
with
see any
4060,
dips,
which is a
you
very
know.
popular GPU. And then maybe like with the Ryzen
It's fine,
5
you know. There's no reason to tell anybody it's unplayable. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you had a good time. I know there was times where I kind of went a little bit back and forth, but I do like to play the devil's advocate. And if you ask me, my official ending thoughts on this is I do recommend the game. I do not think that you're going to have any issues. And if you do have some issues, luckily you can return the game, but there is a very high probability chance you're not going to have any issues. So thanks for watching. If you want and you like my content, subscribe. If not, at least, maybe you could shoot a like if you stayed this long. And everybody, take care.